Hey there, my name is Joe, and this video is to talk about requirements engineering and how that relates to financial technology. Recently, on our discussion board in class, um, we were asked to kind of pick a financial technology that either exists or does not yet exist, but one that we would use. And so I chose to focus on one that I don't think exists yet to my knowledge, but it is kind of an offshoot of online banking and banking apps. I feel confident that if not the majority, close to the majority of people access their bank accounts on by computer or by phone, either mobile application or just internet browser. And so that exists already and is a great substitute for having to actually go into a bank to do your banking. So I am a participant in online banking currently, but there's an aspect of it that I don't think exists yet that's what I'll be focusing on today. And if I were to give it a name, I would call it the money freeze. Um, so let me talk a little bit about a background of why I would use it, and then I'll give a kind of a brief description of what it would be. And then I'll go into a little bit more detail talking about some of the requirements that would be involved for this type of financial technology. So I don't know if you've ever set aside money for something specific, and then before you were able to pay for that or purchase whatever it was, then you either accidentally or purposefully use that money for something else that comes up. And then you're kind of just out, and then you have to kind of scramble for that money when that time comes. So um, that happened to me it happens still, but it happened to me often, especially early in my career. I am a teacher by profession, and I am paid once per month. So, like I said, early in my career, I had a difficult time managing my money at times because kind of got all the money at the start of the month, and life was great for a couple of weeks. And then when it got to the third and fourth week of the month, then things were pretty tight at times. Um, and I don't think that I'm alone in this. Actually, looked up, and according to, as of June of this year, a survey was taken and uh, said that 61% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck still. So I think that this is probably a common occurrence, that people accidentally overspend and then don't have the money that they need when they actually need it for certain things. So I would always kind of joke early, and I still do, that I wish that I was paid twice a month rather than once, and that I should take out half of my money when I get paid in cash and give it to a friend that I trust, and then just have them give it back to me 2 weeks later, is kind of my thinking. So I wish that there was an option as part of my online or app banking that would help me with this. It also kind of relates to, I think of it as kind of an analogy, or kind of a similarity would be your fridge and your deep freezer. So your fridge is kind of like your bank account, where you are regularly making deposits or making withdrawals, right? You're either adding your food to or taking it from your fridge on a daily basis through many different transactions. But if there is ever a time where you want to sort of set something aside for in the future, then you may put it in like a deep freezer. And then it stays there, and then at whatever point you are ready to actually use it, then you pull it out. So in the same way, I wish that there was a way as part of our banking that we could kind of freeze funds and specify the date that they would become available again. And then during that frozen time, we would not even see, it would basically become invisible, and we would not see that those funds were there. Similar to if we actually, paid for the thing and that the money was gone, but it would just be frozen, and then it would come available at the date that you specified, and possibly even include a notification of, here is what you had said that this was set aside for, and now this money's available. Anyway, so that's kind of the idea, and I think that for it to really work, it should be hard for you to unfreeze your money before the specified date. So I don't know if it would include some sort of like a gatekeeper type thing where perhaps another person on your account, or perhaps another person not on your account was set as your kind of frozen fund gatekeeper. And if you were going to cancel, one of those frozen funds to make those funds available before the release date, then they would also have to like sign off on that. Anyway, so that's kind of a description of what I wish that the financial technology would do. So now I'll describe some of the requirements that would actually need to be in place for something like this to work. So the first category is money and credit. This financial technology, even though credit is definitely involved with banking, but this specific money freeze application would not really deal with credit. It would be dealing with actual positive dollars that you already have in your account. So money would definitely be involved in this. So a person earns money, and then nowadays it's very common for that money to just be directly deposited into their bank account. So this application, whether it's through a banking app or, it really could even be a totally separate app like Venmo or some of these other popular financial applications. But it would allow a person to control the money that there is in their account. So the money requirement would be that a person actually would have to have that balance in their account first. And then it would, need to be able to, it would be required to process, simple money type transactions, similar to deposits and withdrawals and things like that. Okay, the next category would be bank information. So I think that this would work best as an offshoot of a online banking or banking app. So bank information would definitely be a requirement. So a person would have to give access, most likely they already have given permission and access to their bank accounts if they are already participating in online banking. But if not, or if it was its own separate app similar to Venmo, then a person would have to give that permission for them to access their bank account information. The application a requirement would be that they would be allowed to actually withhold or freeze dollars till the specified date. Okay, the next requirement category would be coins and currency. So this would definitely be involved as well. It would require currency information. So I do all my buying and selling and depositing and things like that in US dollars. And so that's what came to mind first. But this similar thing could be done with any currency. But the system would need to function being able to recognize US dollars or whatever currency it was set up in. Okay, the next requirement category would be investment and speculation, which for this specific money freeze application, I don't think that there would be really any investment or speculation requirements. But perhaps as it evolved, then perhaps they would need to add some of that in. All right, the next category would be financial market participants. And so this would not be as much it would not be as much a seller-buyer relationship, but more of just a business-client relationship. It's likely that the person would already be a client of whatever bank it was, but they would maintain that business and client relationship. And the last requirement area would be recorded information. This would definitely be involved in this type of application. They would need to store financial records and date records. It would need to know how much money was being frozen and what date that was going to become available again. It may also require additional information, such as if you made a note to go with that money freeze transaction that would notify you what you were actually setting aside for in the beginning. And there also may need to be records. If this application used the gatekeeper idea, then it would need records from that other person, whether they were sharing the account or whether it was someone else not on the account. It would need some of their personal information as well. So that goes over some of the requirements that would be in play in an application like this. I think that it would be really useful, at least for me. And I think that a lot of people, especially in some of those people that are living paycheck to paycheck, I think it could be a really helpful application to kind of just take away, remove some of that self-control that's needed in saving for certain things. And it would transfer some of that control over to the financial technology instead, which I think could be really useful. So I hope that that's what I covered in this video, and I hope that it was understandable. And just thank you for your time.